So in this video, we're going to discuss how to properly navigate through the city of Chicago's website, or in this case, specifically through the City of Chicago data portal. So we're not only going to talk about how to navigate, but also some key things to consider as we're navigating through the City of Chicago's data portal, and most importantly, at the end, how to export this specific data set into a software such as Excel or Tableau so that we could clean, manipulate, and most importantly, visualize the data. So first, let's take a look at the View Data tab. So in this View Data tab, it provides us a brief overview regarding what type of data set we're actually looking at. So in this case, we're looking at all the crimes that were committed from 2001 up into our present day here in the city of Chicago. And in this area, it lets us know how the information was actually gathered and comprised to arrive to this specific data set. So our next thing we want to consider every single time we look at the City of Chicago data portal is we want to take a look at about this data. Well, what is about this data? It helps us to see when this data was actually published and when the last time it was actually updated. So in this case, the City of Chicago, so this data set was published back in September 30th, 2011, and it was last updated February 12, 2019. So a question we want to ask ourselves is, well, why is this important? Well, first of all, understanding the last time it was updated will help us to confirm if this data is actually accurate and valid. Since it was last updated, since it was updated recently, then we could see that this data set is good to use. It is definitely accurate, up to date, as well as valid. So next thing, every time we take a look at the City of Chicago's website, is we want to look at, well, what is this data set? So what is this data set helps us to see how many rows and columns are within this specific data set. So in this data set, we have 6.8 million rows. So it's a pretty large data set. And this is important for us to see the size of, for us to understand the size of the data set, because the larger the data set, the more processing power your computer would need to handle the specific data. Now, if your computer has the proper processing power, great. But if not, which most computers don't, then this could create crashes as well as cause your computer to slow down. So next, we have about 22 columns. And then each row is a reported crime. So this helps us to see that the entire row is almost an instance, or each field within that row correlates to one specific crime. And next, which is also very important, which is taking a look at the columns in this data set. So this not only provides us a brief description of each column, but also the column name. But most importantly in this section, we want to take a look at the data type. So why is the data type important? Okay, well, just by understanding the different type of data types that are within this data set will help you to start thinking about how you can visualize this data. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, let's take a look at a data type that's a number. So pretty much a data type that's the number, you will visualize that better within a bar graph, a pie chart, or even a scatter plot. Then we also have in this data set a data type that's date and time. So date and time leads itself to visualize, or you're able to visualize a date and time data type better using like a line graph or even time series. And also in this data type, we have longitude, latitude, and location. So these type of data types helps us to, will lead itself better to plot this data on a specific map. So I would say a good amount of time and consideration should be given in understanding the type of data types that are within this data set, even before you decide to upload it into Excel or Tableau. Next, we have our table preview, and this just gives us a nice preview about how this specific data set would look when we upload it to a software such as Excel specifically, or even Tableau. And lastly, and also most importantly, is, well, how do we export this data? Well, there's an export tab at the top of the City of Chicago's, the City of Chicago data portal, and you click on that, and it provides options for us to be able to download the specific data set. So there's a good amount of formats, files you can utilize, but just in this course, the most important files or applications that we would use would be either CSV or CSV for Excel.